Ryback Show starts now. Welcome to the Ryback Show Live. I am your host, the big guy Ryback, presented by Feed Me More Nutrition. As always, guys, we're streaming live on the big guy Ryback20 on Instagram and TikTok. So I thank everybody that joins in on the streams live over there. Always here, Ryback TV on YouTube, Ryback Rules on Twitch, and Ryback at Twitter. This show is available on all podcast platforms if you just simply want to listen to the audio at a different time while you're driving. Unless you have the YouTube Premium, then you could close the screen and do other things, preferably drive. But if you're in the passenger seat or doing whatever. iTunes reviews are greatly appreciated when you can swing over there as well. And as always, guys, brought to you by Feed Me More Nutrition, my premium supplement line, sweetened with stevia and monk fruit. No harmful artificial sweeteners or colors, vegan-friendly for men and women on feedmemore.com. You can save 20% just from listening to this show, watching this show with discount code RYBACKSHOW20. That's RYBACKSHOW20 on feedmemore.com. Good to see everybody. Good day over here. Got some good shoulder work in already. I got my morning conditioning on the Stairmaster, another PR personal record on that. I had to do some work for feedmemore.com, which and then went and got my coffee. Had to go cut some branches off the palm trees in the backyard. Things are starting to grow, and some of the dead branches had to get rid of those. And but we got the cool news is for you guys that you guys know I'm working on the Feed Me More Nutrition maximum strength and size program that I'm really pumped and working on it every single day and getting this all ready to go. And it's going to take a little bit of time. I don't know how long. It just depends how much time each day I have to work on it. And it's fun. I really enjoy getting all of this down, and I believe it's going to be very beneficial to people. In doing this, I realized I always am recommending to people for the Basal Metabolic Rate Calculator, the BMR calculator. People go, I don't know. I don't count calories. I don't know where to start. Obviously, you want to start getting physically active. But the first step into getting healthy is you want to know how many calories you need per day. It's something that so many of us, we just have no clue. And we have no clue. It's really difficult to do if you're not eating a lot of processed foods, and especially if you're plant-based, and like you could be amazed at how much you could eat and actually come in under your calories. It's when you do a lot of the heavy processed food, the fast foods, you could easily eat past your daily recommended caloric intake in one meal. And a lot of people do. And some people do it in two, and then they snack all day. They're chugging regular sodas and fruit juices. And then you wonder, you go, I don't understand, because you don't feel like you're eating that much, but you're eating very calorie dense foods with that. So I've included, we have a BMR calculator on feedmemore.com now. I had it implemented into the website, and that link is in the description now on Ryback TV. I will put it in the comments as well. It'll be on Instagram after the show is over. I'll get that in the description as well over there. So now when I tell you guys to go to find a BMR calculator, you just go to feedmemore.com. It's just a free tool. I'm trying to find other things I could provide you guys to help make this better for you, easier for you, all in one place. Obviously, no charge on that or anything with that. And we have the supplements on there. But as I said, I'm more than just a supplement company business. And the hungry mindset is really where like my passion is with all of this, and that the supplements are involved in that. And it's a mindset with that. But you got to have the tools available to you as well to kind of start piecing this together. And once you do it, it's really easy, I promise. With that, and you just plug in your information as honestly as possible. You don't need to know your body fat percentage on there. If you want to estimate, some people, I would just say leave it blank. You don't have to have that to get your caloric intake of what you need or what your goal is, whether it's to lose weight, maintain, or gain weight. You just plug the information in honestly, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, what do we got going on today? On Sunday, hopped on a little early and figure I could do a knockout about an hour today, and Hello, we're back. We that is odd. That's never done that. And then it was it said there was no internet, even though I'm hardwired. That is StreamYard. Don't let the big guy down. We're back, guys. We're back. Take it easy. The big guy's back. Sheiky baby got shell shocked already out of Rybackville, and we're good to go. Appreciate it. Though we're going to have to end the stream. We've got 1.1 thousand people watching on TikTok. Greatly appreciated. Well, those how are them ruffles? Somebody asked. The ruffles, were only eaten in that video years ago, and it was they were great. Didn't pay $1 for those things. They were sent as a gift from a fan with a box of Canadian snacks. So that video's made me a little bit of cash. So thank you to whoever sent those ruffles. That's literally the only reason why I did that. And I'll do an ASMR video because those are popular. Kind of making fun of the whole thing, which is kind of missed by a lot of people, but it is. I'm okay with that. Hello from Russia. I've heard that I am actually on billboards in Russia eating chips. Can somebody from Russia verify this? Because I've seen multiple people tell me that the chip meme is now on billboards in Russia. Ryback, do you like hot food? Depends. Like spicy. I mean, I don't hate it. I've done the hottest things in the world. I don't care to ever do that again. Ryback is I hearing Kane. I keep hearing Kane is the nicest guy in the world. Kane is very nice. Majority of wrestlers are all very nice. It's just dependent on what is the I don't know how to explain it. It just depends on what is going on with people and with an organization. It tends to be the people that tend to stay in W. If you ever notice this, the people that tend to be loyal to Vince, if you've ever noticed, regardless of whatever, and I could tell stories, and I'm not gonna on things with that people that are nice, but that they don't seem to get thrown into the dirt sheets, which I've always said Vince and all of them are connected in that they're responsible for the majority of the negative press that goes out. But Kane is incredibly, incredibly nice. We're doing super chats as well, guys. If you want your questions brought up on the screen, I will get to them. Health, fitness, supplementation, whether, diet, pro wrestling, whatever your questions are, I'm here to try to answer them as to the best of my ability. I can't always say I will answer it great, but I will certainly do my best. Timmy G, starting it off hot. I've got my Starbucks here, my hot Starbucks. Today, no ice cubes. I haven't been doing ice cubes every day. What is your take on the art of entrance videos? They seem to be enhanced graphic renders now. Did it before provide a way to tell who a character's? Okay, so I'm assuming I'm going to take a crack at, and Timmy, you don't have to send another super chat, but I want to make sure I'm addressing this. Are you referencing the WWE entrances where they're using the graphics and what you're talking about, like the art graphics and the 3D dimensional images of whether it's Roman or whoever, along with like the stage and especially for like that SummerSlam, WrestleMania, where they've got the stage with the graphics downloaded, where they're able to whatever the display them through the stage. Is that what you're referencing? If so, I think if you are referencing that, I think it's great, and it looks very, very good. And I've said it all along. WWE is the number one wrestling company from a production standpoint, and the packages and everything that they put together, and the entrances and all of that. They really, really like. It looks really, really good. Let's see. Do we have another question? Are you cool with let's see. Do I have talked to Stone Cold. I've done his podcast multiple times. And we talked a bit. We talked for probably, I'd say, I don't know, it was like a week. We called and just BS'd and talked about some stuff. And yeah, I like Steve. I mean, a lot. He's very, very. A lot of similarities and different in a lot of ways as well. But he, I really like. I like his mindset, and obviously, I think had the greatest run in the history of the business. And we saw that this past WrestleMania, and I'm very happy for him that he got to go back and if that was the end here and go out on a high note, which we went out on a high note essentially, but didn't kind of unexplained, right, with everything. And man, he could still, if you listen, he still gets, I think, the loudest pops, which says a lot. Says a lot. Another super chat here. Let me see. How much money did you make in the WWE? We do not discuss financials. There's no point in doing that. I've given little bits and pieces over the years of things I've made at different times, and we don't discuss that with the public. Did WWE release you? No, they did not release me. I actually released them, and I walked out. I got a couple surgeries that I needed. I let my contract run out. I had at the time, and I hadn't agreed to it, but the contract that they had presented me was worth, like, this is a little bit of tidbit of information, $1.65 million. And that was I wasn't happy with that. And I could have got more if I wanted, but I wasn't going back. There was just too much. And I made that very, very clear. And the contract ran out August 8th. So there's a lot of people that will spread lies and misinformation. There's a lot of fans that will listen to other fans spread misinformation, and then they go and further spread that misinformation with that, right? And that was one of the things WWE actually, when I walked out, I literally walked out, I told Mark Carrano, who was there at the time, asked if he goes, do you want to speak to Vince? I said, I never want to speak to him again. And there were things that led up to this throughout the day that I'd let them know that, like, I'm getting out of here. And then I got my bags and I left. And I remember seeing later where it said I was sent home. Nobody sent me home. I literally left. Do you think, I'm telling you right now, if they would have tried to send me home and I wasn't ready to go home, I would not have left. And there ain't a goddamn person there that would have made me. I'm telling you that straight up. Security and all, they would have had their hands full. They would have had their hands full. And those security guys were really cool with me too. So, but there's just been so many lies. But it's all coming to an end here. I've won everything. The truth always wins out. I've had to be patient. I've had to sit back. I've had to just get my health back, listen to a lot of people talk a lot of smack. And the big guy always finds a way to get his way. And I've done it once again. I've not seen Triple H. It says release some superstar financial things recently. I don't know about any of that. I don't understand and I'd have to look into that and see. But if I don't understand why they wouldn't just release all of them across the board, the downsides. Just what you're seeing, whatever they're reporting on downsides is most likely not anybody's yearly salary. Most of the guys are on downsides that are very low overall, and then they exceed those depending on how they're used throughout the year. Things have changed a bit since I've left, and money has gone up considerably, I have heard, which I'm very happy. You'll never hear me get upset over that, and I'm very happy for all of that, for everyone in that. And I wouldn't have had an opportunity, because if I would have stayed, I would have had to retire with my injuries. So I've got my health back, and I've found a whole new way to make a lot more, especially long term with everything with that, and going back and with everything when the point in time is ready. So, but I would be interested in seeing everybody's numbers if they ever do fully release those, which I've talked about is good for wrestlers to have that information. Super chat, and thank you, buddy. What's your opinion on AEW from Hazmat Mahmood? Hazmat Mahmood. What is your opinion on AEW after Cody joins WWE? I think it's pretty similar. AEW is AEW. I don't think Cody was a very big part of AEW, especially early on with that. But he was off doing things at multiple times where they're not there all the time, even though he was there overall consistently. And I would say one of the faces of the company, obviously. But I think they've got more than enough talent. And again, though, there's I'm a big like you gotta they run the you could tell they run that promotion a little bit different than WWE runs their promotion with that and everything. And as long as the Tony's happy and they're profitable and making money, which I don't know any of that. I don't know. That's all at the end of the day. I think it's good we have two wrestling companies, both big. I would say overall WWE's a bigger company from obviously the revenue end of things. But I think I'm not sure what the future holds. They've been kind of stuck at the ratings where they've been, regardless of who they bring in. And I think I have my opinion on things for talent and things that I think could draw, and I will reserve those for me for when the time is right for whatever opportunity presents itself with that. But it's I don't watch as much of it as I did before, and I watch matches. I'll watch a couple matches here, and Monday, Wednesday, try watching a little bit of NXT. That's more difficult. NXT is really difficult for me to watch. It always has been since I don't know what it is. I'm just not. I'm a big fan of big crowds, and like pro wrestling to me just does not work. It brings me back flashbacks of developmental, and I don't care to like. It's like, yeah, we did that for a long time. What are my thoughts on energy drinks? It's not like so. You got to be careful. When I was younger, Red Bulls came out. I used to chug those things, the regular sugared ones. It's a processed drink. It's not beneficial to you. You're better off go get a black coffee. Get a black coffee if you want to put some stevia or something like some cream, whatever. That will give you much healthier for you, much cleaner for you, energy wise, and calorie free. With that, we have our Wake Up Unlimited Energy with Feed Me More Nutrition. It is I believe the most powerful pre-workout energy supplement. Most people don't need to take the full scoop. You could start off taking half a scoop of that. It would last you 60 days, and it's sweetened with stevia and monk fruit. We don't use any of the artificial sweeteners and colors, and that's the problem. A lot of the diet energy drinks that don't have the sugars or the calories are chocked full of artificial sweeteners and colors, and they are not good for us. They are not good for us, and I would be the first one to say, yeah, they're addicting and they taste good, but you'll see over time. You'll see over time. And I found out younger, we didn't have this information when I was a kid and diet sodas came out. There was nothing saying that this stuff, at least we didn't have the internet yet or anything with it saying, this stuff is bad for you. And, I had side effects from it. Like vision was horrible. I'd get blackouts. I'd wake up feeling groggy every morning. There was just all these little things. And then they were in all my supplements. And I was in my 20s in Tampa down at FCW. And I just remember, I just go, I'm done. I'm done. I did a search. I started looking online and everything just started popping up with aspartame and sucralose. That's the artificial sweeteners. And so that's where I started. That's literally when I started making Feed Me More Nutrition. I started just buying the raw ingredients and getting blends made for myself and putting things together. And because I go, this stuff I just realized what the supplement industry was. It was a corrupt scam for the most part they're using good ingredients mixed with bad ingredients. And then if they're doing that, and then it's like, well, what else are they doing with that? Are they third party testing? We're like, no, a lot of them don't. It's like, so it's just, I've tried to learn from all of that and to bring that into my company to give you guys the best. If you become the champion, are you able to take the belt home with you? Yes, you travel when you become whatever championship belt, and this is specifically at least for in my time in WWE. You take one of them with you, and the they're all the same. They're all like there's not like they're all the same titles you could buy online. They have them at TV in little cases, in the big cases. So like when you're at TV, you go to the case by Gorilla and you grab your championship, or it's there. They have like multiple championships in there that if you need to go do a photo shoot or something, or before you go out, you grab your title and you put it on. And then you have one you bring with you, you keep in your bag at all times for like live events and when you're traveling with everything. And that one's a little more beaten up. And that one, I always preferred that one because it had that one is the one that gets carried from talent to talent until they decide to switch it out. So, and then they send you one of the replicas, the same ones that are at TV and you use on the road. And I have like the IC title upstairs in my case. John Cena's bald spot. Thank you for the super chat. Diet soda is worse than regular soda with all the added chemicals. Yeah, and but we say that, but like the sugar is really bad for you as well, and with diabetes, and there's just no point in drinking just sugar. Like those cans of sodas would have like 35, 40 grams of sugar for a regular can, maybe even 45. I mean, that is a lot of sugar, and especially for don't get me wrong. And I was a kid, like here and there, like if specifically if you do it, like you say you did a big workout, you work out really hard and you figure it in to your calories, and you go, I just really love Coca-Cola Classic. I just want a nice ice cold Coca-Cola Classic after my workout, or you time it into your day after at some point, whatever, and you have one Coca-Cola Classic. You can get away with that if you're physically active. The problem is a lot of this stuff is very addictive, and the people that do they drink tons of this stuff all day long. Can you imagine going how many? So just like you're going to a 7-Eleven. They sell double big gulps there. Those big, huge. At least they used to. Super big gulp even, but double big gulp. We're gonna go big. You walk in, you get a double big gulp. You don't know what you just know you like Coca-Cola Classic. You fill it up with some ice, and you fill that big, huge 64-ounce double big gulp up with Coca-Cola Classic. You're drinking so much carbs and sugar, just diabetes waiting to happen. Like but that's what people do this. People do this. And that's where, that's why we have the health issues that we have with it. And it's crazy. That stuff is, that's why I always stress capitalism for good. But at the end of the day, those companies, if they create these products and we're smart and they just don't get as big as they have gotten. If everyone has self-control and like, hey, yeah, this stuff's not bad if every once in a blue moon, but we also like you got to be aware of how bad it is for you to begin with, which they don't market it. They market everything very friendly and very happy, right? But that's where at the end of the day, though, it's our individual fault, and you just have to be consciously aware of it and try to make the best decisions possible, right? Ryback, do you still keep in contact with Chris Jericho? Your episode on Talk is Jericho is my favorite. Thank you, Barry. I've not talked to Chris. We follow each other on social, but I've not talked to him in some time. Yes, some people after they win a championship, they cry or get emotional. Absolutely. And I've always said that's what I talked about when I said the championships are props, and that's in all organizations, but they all have a different history and different stories and different meanings to individual people based off of that history, right? Before AEW, when they came out with the AEW championship, that championship had no history, had no significance, it had no meaning. Now, from the people that hold it, that starts developing and creating meaning, right? And then as years go on, that meaning becomes more and more, or it can become less and less depending on how that course is ran, on who carries it, and et cetera, right? And so that's why you got to like have an understanding of that, and that's all sports. You create, UFC, when UFC was created, UFC meant nothing with that. And they create their championships, but over time, and from the people that hold those championships, and then the caliber of talent that are competing for them, it elevates the championships over time. Super chat here. Joe Blundy, thank you, buddy. Do you remember the loudest pop you received in your career in any promotion? The one there was the initial year of Ryback, once we got into the main event, and like I'm talking traveling, doing European tours, on the road 5 days a week, it was insane, man. But if you're talking like TV wise, I would say the one I remember, and this happened a few times. The arena was shaking, and it was in California, I believe in Sacramento. It's on YouTube, and even then, it was when Punk was in the ring, and I came down, and I don't know if it was Punk and Jim Ross, but I came down to make the save, and I finally clotheslined Punk and went to pick him up for shell shock, and then I think he got out of it. But when I came down there and I got in the ring, and then I finally hit the clothesline and signaled to finish it, the building, you actually see the camera on hard cam side was shaking. And I remember production people from WWE had told me that, and this is just me sharing, and this isn't, they just said, we haven't seen that happen since Stone Cold has been here. And I remember I go, shit, that's pretty cool that they told me that. And that happened a few times, from what I remember, 2 or 3 times of really, really on TV where things were really, really fire. And unfortunately, that didn't last forever, which, and nothing like that would ever last forever. But that first year was pretty hot, especially, and it depends like on the I'm just going by in person with that. And sometimes on TV, it could be harder to tell and whatnot. But, I wish I would have had like a Mania. That first Mania, though, was great, but things were already kind of not perfect. I'll say, too, the night after Mania, when I turned on Cena, that was a very loud moment. And I was shocked because booking had been so bad for months on end. I think I had 6 or 7 pay-per-view losses as in the main, right? Top position, top circle there. And I just remember thinking, well, if we pull the trigger on this, it's still here. And then unfortunately that wasn't the case, right? And on the business that was done. But it was there were some really cool moments, man. Some really cool moments. Very grateful. Amuda Hernandez, mi amigo, hola. As a truck driver, you think my size is unhealthy? I'm 6'1", 215. I don't have a photo. I don't know what your body fat percentage is. That does not sound horribly out of shape based off of just size-wise. You're a tall guy, 215. Yeah, that doesn't. But now, if you're just, it depends. If your body's a melted candle, you could be they would say, well, you got to lose some weight. But I don't know what your muscle mass is with that. But go to the Basal Metabolic Rate Calculator. It's in the description on feedmemore.com. Plug in your information, what your goals are, your activity level. Be very honest, and it will give you your daily caloric needs on how many calories you need to maintain or how many calories you need to lose weight. And then you adjust that as you go along, and you plug those numbers in as your weight starts coming down and what you set and what your goals are. And it gives you some direction on hitting your goals with that. Say you're 215 and you're a little overweight and you need to be down to maybe 195, 200. You plug that information in on that calculator, and it's going to tell you need 2,200 calories a day, whatever the number is that it gives you, right? And you go, oh, okay, now I have to now see what I'm eating, and go, oh, I'm eating 3,000 calories a day. Maybe that's why I'm 15, 20 pounds overweight, right? And then you can start making changes and adjustments, and bam, and that's how you do it. And then before you know it, you get really good at that. And then you get really good at staying consistent with your what you should be. And then you can make changes based off that when you get down to 195 or whatever it is. And you go, I'd like to put on, maybe in the next couple of years, I would like to try to put on 8 to 10 pounds of muscle if I can. Well, and I'm going to work towards that. And then you increase your calories, you're eating cleaner, you plug that in, and then, but you've got some direction. Also, thank you for everything you do as a truck driver. You guys are as important as anyone, and everyone's important. All the jobs everyone does, everyone has their role, but truck drivers keep the world going. So thank you. I don't think not everyone a lot of people understand, and not everyone understands. I couldn't imagine the stress of having to drive those things. And I drove a big ass U-Haul from Tampa to Vegas with my car hitched on back when I moved back home to Vegas before I got called up as Ryback. And I'll never forget, in Louisiana, I got into a real shady part of. I had to stop. I had to get off the freeway for something in Louisiana, and I planned this out because I did not want to have to back this U-Haul up because it had the connecting piece with the car, and so you had to really I mean, and I'm sure this is a breeze for you at this point, but this is my first time ever, no training on anything. So when I go into gas stations, I got to go in, I got to make sure I'm always driving forward. So I did this successfully the whole trip home. And I made sure I would go to get off to get gas early so that I wasn't running on E, so that in case it was a gas station I couldn't maneuver, I could just keep going. In Louisiana, I got off the freeway. I think I was looking for gas, and there wasn't gas at this particular exit, and I ended up in a shady neighborhood with small streets. It was, I tell you, it was stressful. I got stuck in this neighborhood, man. I couldn't get the vehicle. I had to back. I went down a dead end street, and there was no choice. I had to back out, and the thing kept going every which way. And then people started coming out of their homes. Homeless people started just showing up. I'll never forget, there's a homeless man with a dog that was just there. I'm like, where did the homeless man with the dog come from? And everyone's trying to you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm just thinking damn it. It was a nightmare. I finally got it out. I just got calm. I got in the truck and I said, big guy, you got to get out of it. You just got to go for it. And I got it. I got out, and then it was forward all the way home to Vegas. So thank you for all that you do, reminding me of that story. Yeah, I listened to some of Tupac's songs. I don't know a lot about Tupac, but California Love was where I became familiar with Tupac. We got another super chat here. This is going to bring out a story. I already know it. Elton Tal says, thank you very much, buddy. Ryback, I met you in Paris in 2016. I still have the pictures of us flexing our muscles. There's a good chance, okay, because I believe was this 2016 or maybe a little before? Or was this my last tour in Paris? I thought so. I'm curious if the year is correct here. I'm curious where the picture was as well, because I remember when we were in Paris, me and a group of the guys went to a Paris strip club, and I'll never forget because there were a lot of women with the hairy armpits, and this is why we went. By the way, we had hot women with hairy armpits, and there was one blonde dancer, and she was absolutely gorgeous. And luckily, I brought a pack of Mentos with me. And I'll never forget this one dancer that just kept coming over by me and kept sitting in everyone's drinking. And her breath was the worst breath I have ever been around, ever. And but she was so pretty, but I couldn't take her breath. And I kept trying to give her Mentos for an hour. And I think the guys that were there, and I'm not going to name names, but they were laughing hysterically because I think the girl thought I was trying to give her something other than a Mentos. And I just remember that's my Paris story. It was a great time. I got pretty loaded that night. So I'm curious where that photo was taken, because if you ran into me in there or somewhere after that, because I have no recollection of taking photos in Paris. Barry, good question. Ryback, why are modern wrestlers much smaller and wrestle like gymnasts? I prefer powerhouses like you, Austin Rock, etc. So this is ideal. This is one of the things, and it's not the wrestlers' faults on this as much. One WWE or the organizations that I think wrestling WWE used to scout people and bring big bodied people in and then teach them wrestling that looked the part, that were larger than life. They got away from that for a long time here. And I think in wrestling, a lot of people don't understand, like people that go and play other sports or football players or do other things. You got to love wrestling though to really do this. You got to, and if you never did, you got to fall in love with it while you do it to really have success. And so I've always found, like, I grew up loving it and watching it. People that have that background of childhood to adult of just loving it tend to understand the business and make have a better chance of making it. But in that, a lot of smaller people that got into the business, there weren't as many bigger people. And also that people that go into other sports or things, wrestling doesn't pay unless you really get a great deal, which is very rare, and go right up to TV. But like other than that, like you're not doing great. You're better off doing a million other things unless you love pro wrestling with that. Um, and I just think there's been a lot more guys they've hired that are smaller. But another thing is, and this is just specifically more WWE where there is the drug testing that a lot of the guys, and they're not taking the drugs, which is a good thing. And I'll say this, and like the guys prior, there were a lot of guys taking things in those other generations that would not have looked nowhere like they did. And that's just the truth of the situation. This is one of the reasons I've always been, and I've Vincent to know this. Like I call myself the big guy, and it's because I don't need the drugs to be the big guy. I have to work very, very hard. I have to train very, very heavy, and I've always been honest about being on TRT since 28, and that's in the normal ranges. That's not abusing steroids or anything of that nature. It takes a lot of work. But in those guys, you are big bodied guys. Austin's a big guy. Rock's a big bodied guy. And I think they just got away from hiring big bodied guys as much. But there's also being a big bodied guy and knowing how to work your style. And a lot of guys, and that ties into now a lot of guys if are wrestling and doing things that doesn't fit with a persona of that, right? And that's that everyone's going to do what they want to do on that, and I have no control over it. And that's why I understand it. I get it. I know what I need to do, and I just hold on to that. And it is what it is. But there's a reason why Austin can come back and not do one damn flip and go out there and just kick ass and still be the most over guy, right? It's because it's believable, and he has a connection with the crowd through his promos and through years of being believable. And at the end of the day, pro wrestling is the illusion of a real fight. And we want the people that we are watching in front of us to be as legit. We want to believe they're as legit as possible. When we're watching a movie and you're watching Rocky, you believe Rocky is Rocky, right? You believe Sylvester Stallone is Rocky. You buy into it. If they would have had scenes of that in that movie where Rocky wasn't Rocky, right? For whatever reason, however they do that, I don't know, but however they do that, then like it would be a disconnect, right? And you wouldn't believe in that character as much. And that is what pro wrestling is, a movie in that sense, that the people that are playing the roles, you have to, when you're playing those roles, you want the people to believe in you as much as possible. And sometimes doing certain things can disconnect for people. Have I seen The Rock? I have seen The Rock. Yeah, no comment on that. I think you know where I'm getting at. I like everything that's going on with Roman Reigns. I'm very curious to see where this continues to go. They are. I think it's going to be a significant moment when somebody finally does defeat him. Thank you for the Tupac songs. I'll have to come back up and check that out. Selfless says best thing that could happen for wrestling is you to return. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing where everything kind of lines up when everything that time comes. But I think a lot of people are gonna. It's gonna be a really cool thing that happens. I'm gonna call it right now though. Once everything, all this legal stuff is done with WWE and the shoulder, I get the green light. Um, I think you're going to see my social media explode outside of TikTok, which already has. It's gonna be night and day. And even then, there's still going to be a lot of hate and negativity, and people. You're going to see a massive shift really quickly in a lot of things because I've learned how to hustle and work even through suppression and hate and negativity. And the tides are turning, and they're going to be turning very quickly here with everything with the legal stuff. And it's going to be a beautiful thing that transpires. And I do look forward to being back in the pro wrestling scene. I've always loved the creative end. I believe I really, really understand that end of the business and seeing things, and I know how to get over at the end of the day. I have a thorough understanding of how to get over, and I that's why I keep myself in shape and on the conditioning end, because wrestling's like riding a bike. I've just got to put that work in, like I've been putting all this work in. Once that green light hits, and we'll be back off to the races. I have no doubt. Super chat, Life of Daz. Thank you, buddy. Yo, buddy, are you watching the Tyson Fury and Katie Taylor fights this month? Was not even aware that Tyson Fury had another fight coming up. I haven't seen any advertising for that yet, but I'll have to see on the night of what I have going on. Sometimes I get those fights, and like last night, I was thinking about it. I was like, the UFC fights. I'm like, I'm not thrilled they raised the prices on this stuff, and like I could afford it easily. I'm like, I don't feel like giving them my money for this tonight. And I wanted to see a couple of those fights, but I was like, I'll be able to see the whole damn thing on social media here in a week, if not already now, through the significant moments through the clips, right? So I save those now. I'm trying to for when I really, when Connor comes back, I'll buy the Connor fight. When there's big fights, certain championships on the line, I will tune in for those, right? So the boxing one though, I'm particularly because usually the card there's not a lot going on. Not to say that it's not great boxing, but it's just I prefer the UFC events more than anything. Barry says, "You are over, mate. Look at what you achieved on YouTube in less than 2 years." I appreciate that, Barry. I don't feel a sense of satisfaction with anything outside of TikTok. Honestly, I'm thankful for all of you guys with all of it. It's not none of you. It's more of legal, and I know what's going on. And I've lost followers now on Instagram and Twitter. Since Twitter, I've gone from, I was almost at 1.7 million when I left WWE. I'm at 1.4 million now. I'm non-existent on the platform. That truly frustrates me. They will not acknowledge me. They will not help me. And I know what's going on. And I've said in Instagram that I've had Facebook, the manager called me off the line. This was years ago. This is before I went public. This was when I started going public, who confirmed to me, he says, your accounts, there's something going on that is above anything that I could do. And he goes, but your suspicions and everything that we have talked about through the other call, he goes, are very accurate. And then when I saw they removed me as Facebook and Instagram removed Ryback as an interest, and then they started cracking down on these other little things and shadow banning randomly when I did nothing wrong, and then keeping the shadow ban in place where my Instagram is completely dead again. It's that is frustrating when you have a business, and a lot of people, I have to keep fighting for that, because if I don't, there's nothing I ever do, even going back to TV, if those accounts don't get fixed, that greatly limits. And there's a perception with that when people see that and they go, oh, he must have bought his followers, because years go by. I've been dealing with this since 2016, with this after the engagement and everything was through the roof. And then all of a sudden it crashes overnight when I don't sign my social media over to WWE. And then I realize I go, okay, this is going to be, I was not anticipating this part of this being an issue because they were never connected to it, but I have to keep fighting. But the good news is it's like, I tell you, it's like pulling back a slingshot more and more and more and more and putting all this work in. And in the moment that gets released, it's just going to be, it's going to be really, really cool. But TikTok has been at least a blessing, despite it was 4 months where they hit me on there. I couldn't get any traction randomly after being really, really popular on there, which now everything seems to be in the clear with all of that. So, but I appreciate it. I'm thankful, man. I want to do a lot more with all this stuff, but we got to definitely, all that's going to be taken care of on the legal end, which shouldn't even be having to be taken care of on the legal end, by the way. And it's crazy that it even has to be. Life of Daz UFC was long. I was up after 6:30 a.m. here. Yeah, I heard I want to see, because I know the Gilbert Burns fight. Is it Hamzat? I can't pronounce his name. The dude, but he won, and I heard it was, a lot of people said fight of the year candidate and one of the best fights a lot of people have seen. So I definitely want to go back and watch that. Great question here. Do I think Elias's new gimmick will help him? I know a lot of people, and it's too early to tell. I think there has to be, there doesn't have to be, but he's been off TV for a long time. I hopefully would like to see this kind of result in him going back to being Elias. And that, I don't know why I got that vibe with that promo and what they're doing and acknowledging that he was Elias. I think by acknowledging that he was Elias, you have to make him go back to being Elias. But I don't know if that's the game plan or not. And if it's not, I have to ask, why would you take a guy away that was over and had the crowd with him, and you could have done more? And I don't know all the backstage stuff going on, but I think that you had a character that was generating revenue with what he was doing. Not saying he was going to be the most over guy or the top guy, but generating probably good revenue and was recognizable, and try to change that. I don't know, but they got away from that. Now it's been since the pandemic, right? So I hope that there is a plan in place, but I'm telling you from knowing what I know, oftentimes there is not, unless it's in that top circle. So that could be a case where he comes back and in 3 months he's released, or it could be that there is a game plan and they execute it, or they think of it as it comes along. There's an opportunity, and somebody says, "I think we need to." The crowd is chanting. The best thing you guys could do is chant for Elias, walk with Elias at the shows. That will then, if that is not the game plan for them, that will then, in their heads, they go, was too over as that character and too recognizable, right? And take it, for instance, he got over as Elias. So remember when I was Skip Sheffield, I broke my ankle? You probably don't remember that, because it was very limited amount of months, and it was with Nexus, even though I played a pretty big role in that. But I had the ankle injury. I was off TV for a year and a half. I grew my beard, shaved my head fully, and nobody chanted Skip Sheffield, because it was not a memorable character. That I wasn't on TV long enough to ingrain in people's brains, right? So that was the blessing, and thank God for me. And I had the intensity, and people didn't think about that. Not to say that somebody didn't think about that, but the majority didn't. He's not in that situation because he got over as Elias. And it's an entirely different thing that he's being put into. And like I said, I would hope that there's a bigger plan in place. Let me see here. I got some super chats. Park Junwoo, thank you, buddy. Am your fan living in Korea. Thank you very much. I think you're really cool, and I watch your lives too. Although far away, I always support you. Thank you very much, Park. And it's so cool how we have the ability to connect all over the world with the technology that we have. And I'm always blown away. I always think about this stuff and how thankful I am with all of this. And I always and I've got a friend. I was just talking to her earlier. She's an electrical engineer, and she's working on a project right now. And I go, I just go, God, and I go, I can't even imagine like what your day looks like on working on this project. And she's a mother as well, with a couple of kids. And but like everyone's special and has unique gifts, and like everyone contributes to making this world what it is. And all these little pieces add up to give us the ability to do things like this and to talk and interact. And I'm very thankful for that. And it's just, man, life is cool. Imagine imagine being like the first people on earth. I used to joke about that. I go, man, you wouldn't even know like what to eat. Like you pick the wrong thing and you die. Like you're like, oh, I shouldn't have ate that. And then like you're gone. You're like, all right, don't eat that. And then but then you got to figure that out for like a lot more stuff. Oh man, thank you very much, Park. I hope you're doing well over there. Super chat. Uwo, thank you, buddy. What were you doing before pursuing pro wrestling? I was at school at UNLV, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, for kinesiological sciences, fitness management branch, and I dropped my courses as I got picked for Tough Enough. I sent in my tape, and I always wanted to be a wrestler, and I just realized I go, this is my opportunity, but I wanted to get my degree first because everybody always says you should get your degree first with that. And so I was just kind of following along on that route. And I played baseball, football all growing up. And I just it all kind of came together on that. And I knew when I dropped those classes that I go, if I do this, I have to make it. And I did. Because otherwise when I would have been embarrassed, I would have gotten a lot of trouble. My father was really unhappy with all of that. And so I made sure that I was going to make it, because I wanted to do it. And it was just, that was my introduction into the world of pro wrestling. Thank you for the super sticker, Rock Howard. Greatly appreciated, buddy. This is a great question here. I always appreciate random questions like this. Would you lose your gains and wear a mask, becoming a high flyer? Frog splashing me for $500 million. Become El Hombre. El Hombre Grande is my luchador name, but I don't know how. I don't know how happy I would be in life doing that. I could do that, yes, but it would not be, and I don't know how much weight I could technically get down to. I think I'm always going to be. It's very difficult for me to drop past a certain point. It would take many. I feel like multiple years of calorie restriction and fasting, and even then I would just be super shredded and probably like 260 something pounds or 250 something pounds, which is not small by any means. Super chat, Bill, good to see you. Bill Wild, buddy. I've been taking the big guy without interruption for 6 months straight, and wife just got pregnant after 5 years trying. Coffee on me, big guy. Thanks, Bill. This is, by the way, so congratulations. That is fantastic. I have another buddy who also just had a child. They just had their child the other day, who was on the big guy. They were not able to get her pregnant, and he had to go in and get some work done. And he takes the products, and he got on the big guy, and this was a couple years ago, and she finally got pregnant, and they have their first son. And we joke about it. I go, I should do promotions with testimonials on people having babies with that. But then I go, I don't also want to scare men, because it is a testosterone libido booster. Like, hey, you also have an increased risk depending on your outlook on it, of getting somebody pregnant. It is the real deal, though. This isn't like, and I learned this through individual ingredients, and it increases your testosterone through increasing your luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. And it is an incredible formula. But Bill, thank you very much, man. I'm happy for you, and that's great news. There's a lot of people that can't comprehend that, and they'll be like, "There's no way Ryback's test booster is just is snake oil is getting gets people pregnant. No way. Such the great news. Bringing life into this world with the big guy. I did come up with the finisher, shell shock. Yes. I do not know. No, I don't know the guy that got released. I'm sorry. Um, let's see. We've got another super chat here. We're going to go ahead and shell shock this guy. Seems to have a typing problem. Tim Allen, good to see you. Tim Allen. You got me. The picture is what? Good job. Whoever this is on this, great job. I appreciate things like this. Tim the Toolman Taylor, thoughts on Taker's Hall of Fame speech? The long-standing ovation was really awesome. Any cool stories about him? Yeah, and obviously he's highly respected amongst the business and from performers and everyone involved, and the legacy of his career when that was his moment with all of that. I just think I've met him. He's given me advice at various points. One before I debuted as Ryback and was doing darks, and was like and everything was kind of coming together. And I want to say one of those was in Laredo, Texas. I think I don't know if I had just started wearing. Did Vince have me wearing the black singlet and I hadn't got it airbrushed yet, and I had gloves? But I remember talking to him backstage there, and he just gave me he was very very complimentary on the match, and very positive outlook on things. I remember, and I remember just feeling very good from that conversation. And then I talked to him quite a bit during the WrestleMania week, my first one again there that WrestleMania New York, and we were by the rings, and it was just me and him in there, and it was more talking about a lot of the things going on with me at the time, and he was asking some questions, and uh, he wasn't aware, and I didn't get into like a lot of the legal stuff that was going on, but a lot of people would ask me, they're like, "What's going on?" Because the booking was not great for a period, and people were like, "This isn't why are it's like sabotaging this," and it was sabotaging it, and so the people, and I don't know. At that time, I was trying to be very positive and not like create stir the pot on the legal stuff. And I've talked about I dropped the multi-million-dollar lawsuit that didn't even involve them, but they forced me to drop or threatened to fire me essentially right in the beginning of my main event run. And it was what a horrible position to be put in. And so there was a lot like, and I was still thinking that they were just, that wasn't going to get thrown away. Like they were going to allow me to keep, making great money. And it was all a game, unfortunately. Like I've said, I've come out on top here and I'm winning everything at the end. It just took a little bit of time, but I have nothing but respect for him. Always, I wish I could have wrestled him. But super chat, Mikey man, good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Hey man, I'm an athlete for Special Olympics. Got any tips for me to keep training in my own, with or without the gym? I have little to no motivation to keep in shape outside my training sessions. I don't know. So you're obviously training and still for whatever particular lifts that you are doing. I just think you gotta, it's part of a healthy lifestyle. And I always tell people, if we fix our food, we fix our mood. And typically, lack of motivation comes from a lack of quality nutrition or other things that are like whether it could be negativity, people that are negative around us, watching too many negative things, on social media, hanging out at the wrong places, right? When we start implementing, I always talk about the hungry mindset and that positive mindset, and that starts kind of snowballing into other areas of our life and improving other areas with that. I just think you gotta, there's nothing wrong. Life it's very weird. And I think about this a lot, we live in a world where we think we all have to be competitive all the time, and we see other people online. Some of the most successful people, and a lot of them, are the most miserable people on the planet. And they lack any depth, anything of meaning. They don't, like, a lot of them are, they're chasing superficial things. And I think part of this too is having a grateful mindset and understanding happiness and what makes you happy, and really going all in on what makes you happy as well with that. And in that, you start getting more motivation because you're living your life true to you. And it's a tough thing, but if you could start doing that, you're gonna see improvements with that. And because but I do think, into being younger with people, because it happens to adults too, you get caught up. You got to The social media consumption, I think, can really throw a lot of people off, because it wastes a lot of time, and it takes away our time and from focusing on our business and our lives, and it can cause depression and get people down. So I think living in the real world as much as possible, and that kind of ties into the things that make you happy. Having enough relationships, you only need a couple people that you could bounce things off of. You don't need a lot of quote unquote friends or acquaintances, but a couple people you could trust, even if it's one person, finding that. And I think just trying to improve here and there, little pieces, and do the things you enjoy. But if you're training, you're already ahead of a lot of people that you're training for specific things. You gotta find a few other little areas you can improve in here. And I don't know, it's a very broad question. Like, I don't know what would be throwing you off. Like, if you're training, maybe whatever your lift specific training is, maybe while you're there, you do an extra hour when you're done, to get to, you know what I mean? Throw in some cardio, some conditioning, some different things, maybe a full body routine here and there, but to add to whatever you're doing with that. And that's your training. And then, obviously the nutrition part of things is where you're going to really tighten things up, and see improvements in other areas, in my opinion. Goro, you're very welcome. Life of Daz, have a great evening. Thank you for stopping in. Some people ask weird questions, is one of the comments. Absolutely. There's you never know what you're gonna get here. And but I appreciate all the questions. Everyone comes from different backgrounds and has different levels of just what has been put in their brains. And that's in no way referencing the last question, by the way. That was a great question. I'm talking about, like, the randoms, like Shiki Baby. Oh, Goro, yeah, I hated your idea to have feed me more gimmick go further, where when you losing a match, you would start eating. Um, yeah, start. Hold on, where did the end of that go? Start eating food to power up. Yeah, no, hilarious idea, but horrible idea. That's where the Ruffles deal comes in. I come back, I have a bag of Ruffles in the corner, and when I'm getting the crap beat out of me, and then I got to crawl into the corner and fuel up on some Ruffles and fire up. And these chips be bussing, yo, feed me more, and then go into a hot comeback, an endless bag. I'll be like the stone cold of food, throwing me the bags of Ruffles, smash them together, pouring them on the turnbuckle. People just going crazy for the big guy. Hello, hello. Appreciate all the love and support on Instagram and TikTok. We'll do another question here. Thoughts on AEW? Um, Thoughts on other AEW stars making the jump to WWE in the future? Cody says they inevitably will jump. Absolutely. Cody has opened the door for that. I think I think now that Cody's jumped over, that allows. I think it's a great thing because now what you could do is too is it promotions as this becomes in things if get more intense. What this means is wrestlers will be able to kind of go make a decision. One, you got to look at based off contracts and creative end of things, but financially, if you've got two companies that want you and they're both at 1.5 million dollars per year, and then the other company jumps and go, no, we really want you, we're going to give you three, and then you go, well, that's and all other things are pretty equal on that. What a great win for that talent that wouldn't have existed before when it was just WWE. Just so you guys know, after they bought out everybody, it was where else are you going to go? We're going to give you this, and this is you have no negotiating power. So the tide has turned in favor of the wrestlers, and that's a very good thing because wrestlers have been underpaid just historically in the business far, far too much. And as far as on the big time, on the big screen, big time with that. So I do think there will be others, and AEW is a whole other. WWE is much better and has more television time. I feel like overall, just in keeping the people the consistently on TV. AEW does with certain people, but then you'll see people that are on and off for long periods of time. I do not think that is good. I don't, but I think that's not my problem. It's not, and you don't. My thing is, you just don't want to be one of those talents. That is, and that's you don't want that to be the case. You got to be on TV consistently if you're not already over. If people don't know you already, if you're not doing big things, like, but if you're just doing cold matchups and you're only on TV every couple months or like, yeah, that is a whole other problem, and that's not. But they brought in a lot of talent, and I think that they've got the talent. You've got to get. They still have the problem of they've got now some big names, but there's a big gap often from the big names to the other names, and then that's something that has to continue to be worked on. And that's just they were a promotion that essentially just only had a handful of people that were known. So it's they've done a fantastic job on even being where they're at in this short period of time, in my opinion. It was something that was extremely difficult. So, but with Cody jumping, that is, if Cody jumps, anyone could jump at any point in time. Yeah, that boy. It's already weird how I have past notifications turned on for your YouTube, for your lives, and yet I get no notifications. YouTube is silencing your lives, which I'm sure you're aware. Yeah. I'm this is what I tell people all the it's impossible to keep gaining subscribers. They're also having people, just to let you guys aware of what's going on, and it's happening on Instagram. I've already lost 200,000 since December. They've put whatever little thing into the system where it unfollows people off my account, and I don't know how they choose. I've had people I know get unfollowed, and I shoot them a message, and I said, and like, because I know them, I said, "Hey, did you unfollow me?" They go, "No," and then they have to follow me back. So there's something going on. And my numbers on YouTube have been going down. I've noticed it again. Like I'll look at the numbers and like there's always a period of time where like they'll do like a sweep where for bot accounts or whatever, where your numbers might drop for like a day or two. This has been going on for months. And I'll notice my numbers like, and then they'll go up and then it starts coming down. And I go like, this has been like, we've been hovering under 400,000 now for quite a while. And it's like, it's stuff like this. I can't. What do you do? YouTube. They don't. I've messaged them on this stuff, and they play dumb. They're not gonna. You think they're gonna say like, yeah, we're nope. And you've seen what they've done to other people, and you like it's so it's not like everything I've said has already been done to other people. So it's like, but they're doing it because of the partnership with WWE, and it is illegal. It is corrupt and it is illegal. It's not like I've done anything to warrant this behavior. I've not put out content. You know what I mean? It is so you have to understand like how it's being done to limit my income and my success outside of the business. And it's very frustrating. So even though I've had success, I know it should be much more. And I know I should have much more engagement with the people that follow me. And it's really frustrating. But I just keep working because I know the tides. I know what's going on legally. And like I said, it's all gonna be all right. But it's frustrating, man, no doubt. And I don't know, it sucks. I would say, man, if you could send a message to YouTube and just let them know as a subscriber and a fan that legit tell them what you told me, and just say I don't think that's right, and for what you guys are doing to this guy, and that's the best thing that you guys could do for me, because is being vocal about it, because I'm not being seen, and it is frustrating. One more super chat here. Michael Moranti, had to put my first dog down. Any advice? I'm sorry, buddy. Jesus. How long does it take to get over? Is it worth getting another dog to go through this again? So, Michael, I'm just going to share with you. I've been through this quite a bit, and I'm very sorry. And it is never easy. And this is my approach to life in general. We're born and we die. Death is a part of life, and unfortunately, we don't. I believe it's the greatest experience once we pass. But there's so many different forms of life on this earth, and our outlook. But we miss what we love, right? And I've made a lot of sacrifices to keep Sophie, my dog, alive, and I have little Guy. But I've had my childhood dogs, Pebbles, Bam Bam, Roxy, Shira, and then I went down and recently, a couple years ago, went with a woman that I was friends with. Her dog, Bam Bam, was the cutest little dog. He had to go, and she couldn't handle it, and I had to go with her, and I had to hold him and be the one with that, and it was sad. My outlook on this and my advice is to you: it does get better. Time makes it better. I do believe you should get another dog, and it is worth it, because we have an endless amount of love to give, right? So you'll never replace the love that you gave to your dog that you had put down, but you can give a whole new love to a new pet. And that will, and my thing is I always have taken that approach with it, and it's always made it even better for me, because it helps because when you're in a state of giving love and you have that love, even though you're going to miss your old pet, you have that new love to give that will make those moments better, and inevitably you will come across that time again with your new pet. But that is life, and I believe life is overcoming our fear and of stuff, and trying to become as loving as possible, right? That is a big challenge in life with that. And you look at all the animals, there's a lot of suffering on this planet. And that's why I'm big on, like, we can't control all the suffering that goes on, but in our bubble, in our environment, we can have a loving environment, a happy environment as much as possible. And you do have the ability to go out and give a new pet a very good home, right? So that would be my approach. And that is my approach on how I handle it and how I have handled it. But, I break down every time, man. That's the one thing that gets me with the pets. I'm very, very close to all my dogs, and I love dogs more than anything. So I feel for you on all that. And I just think, try to keep yourself busy. I always do photos. I get photos, and I have blankets. I have things of all my dogs. I always just have them in good memory. And time gives you that closure and that peace, and you remember them for in that, and it doesn't weigh on you like it is suddenly when it happens. And it's that loss of missing, and they are part of us, right? So that would be my best advice to you. And just try to keep yourself together and stay busy. Think good thoughts. Like I said, doing the photos, put together a little thing. If you're going to have the ashes, I don't know what you're doing as far as that, but I always like to set up the thing and just remember them as best as possible and honor them. And when you're ready to go out and go get a new dog, I think it's going to help you. And you'll give that dog a new love. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's show. I got to go knock out a few more things here. Go work on the shoulders some more as well. I appreciate all the love and support, as always, on all the platforms, TikTok, IG. If you could go subscribe to Ryback TV on YouTube as we approach 400,000, it would be greatly appreciated. And as always, my Feed Me More Nutrition supplement line, guys, you could save 20% with discount code RYBACKSHOW20. That's RYBACKSHOW20 on feedmemore.com. And we have the new Basal Metabolic Rate Calculator in the description. It'll be in the comments, where you can click on it on the website and plug in your activity level, and it gives you your caloric needs that you need each day, which is a great tool, I think, for you guys, along with the supplements and getting your diets in order and helping you reach your goals. And if you ever have any suggestions on other things you would like to see featured on the website, please shoot them my way on here and let me know. And I'm here to help you on this stuff as well, with all of this, and to help make this journey a little easier with the things that I've learned over the course of my life. And with that, guys, until next time, stay hungry, feed me more.